ADAM-12 was a police drama that ran from September 21st, 1968 to May 20th, 1975, over 7 seasons. Pete Malloy, a veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, is ready to turn in his badge after his partner is killed in the line of duty. But on what was supposed to be his last night on the force, he is given the task of breaking in a young rookie officer named Jim Reed. Malloy sees potential in the young rookie and decides to stay on, and the two begin a 7-year partnership in which the two officers handle all sorts of cases, from the serious to the funny. But what happened to the cast after the show ended? Martin Milner played Officer Pete Malloy, a veteran police officer who initially plans on resigning from the LAPD, but chooses to guide a young officer through his probationary period, and they strike up a partnership. After the show ended, Milner starred as Carl Robinson in a television series version of The Swiss Family Robinson. He guest starred on television shows such as Murder, She Wrote, MacGyver, and Airwolf. He also hosted a morning radio show in San Diego. Later, he went on to make the cable TV movie Nashville Beat and guest starred on 5 episodes of ABC's Life Goes On in 1992. After retiring from acting, he co-hosted the syndicated radio talk show Let's Talk Hookup about fishing because he was an avid fisherman in his spare time. One of his last projects was when he took part in a documentary film called Route 66, Return to the Road, in which he drove a 1961 Corvette from Chicago to Santa Monica, reminiscing about his time on the beloved Route 66 TV show from the early 1960s. Martin Milner was 83 years old when he died of heart failure on September 6, 2015. Kent McCord played Officer Jim Reed, a rookie police officer who is assigned to Malloy as his field training officer, but they remained together throughout the series. After ADAM-12 wrapped, he went on to the television series Galactica 1980, and he also played Mr. Unger on Airplane 2, the sequel. He could also be seen in the crime show Unsub, and the movies Nashville Beat, Predator 2, and Return of the Living Dead 3. He then had recurring roles on Sequest DSV, JAG, and Farscape. Kent McCord has been actively involved in the Screen Actors Guild through the years, and has also done many voiceovers for commercials and documentaries. Now McCord is 81 years old and has been retired from acting since 2005. He married his wife Cindy back in 1962, and they raised 3 children together. Sharon Cline played herself, a police dispatcher and desk clerk on ADAM-12. She appeared as only a voice in almost every episode of the series, but had a brief on-screen cameo in Season 5, Episode 20. She was an actual LAPD dispatcher who acted as a side job. After the program ended, she went on to do the movie Blue Thunder in 1983, where her voice was again heard as an LAPD dispatcher in an uncredited role. Her career as a dispatcher stretched past these TV appearances, and in 1990, the Los Angeles Times announced her retirement at 52 from the LAPD, with an article celebrating her storied career. In 2015, she returned to the LAPD for one last important dispatch. Following the death of the actor who played Pete Malloy, Martin Milner, she got on the radio to broadcast the end-of-watch call to salute a lost officer. Sharon Cline herself died at the age of 82 of complications from liver cancer on September 15, 2021. William Boyett played Sergeant William McDonald, the watch commander of Central Division. He was responsible for commanding and organizing the officers under him, including Malloy and Reed, who reported to him and were sometimes assigned to cases by him. After the show ended, Boyett appeared in a number of television shows, including Emergency, The Love Boat, The A-Team, and Knight Rider. He also made appearances on Murphy Brown and Night Court, while also showing up in the movies The Hidden and The Rocketeer. He was married twice and had 2 children. William Boyett died 5 days before his 78th birthday on December 29, 2004, from pneumonia and kidney failure. Gary Crosby played Officer Ed Wells, a fellow police officer and one of Malloy's friends. In his first appearance in Season 1, he is a bit hot-headed and reckless, although this is toned down in later seasons, with him mostly serving as comic relief instead. After the series ended, he appeared on the television shows In the Heat of the Night and Matlock. In 1983, he also wrote a highly critical autobiography entitled Going My Own Way that recalled the severe physical and emotional abuse he and his brothers experienced at the hands of his father, Bing Crosby, who had died 6 years earlier. Gary also had two of his brothers, Dennis and Lindsay, commit suicide, which complicated his family life even further. He was divorced from his third wife and was about to marry his fourth when he found out that he had lung cancer. On August 24, 1995, 2 months after the diagnosis, Gary Crosby died in Burbank, California. Art Gilmore played Lieutenant Moore, the commanding officer of the Central Division. Dialogue in the pilot episode suggested he was Malloy's field training officer when he was a rookie. His role was minimized between seasons 2 and 7, where he made very few appearances. After the program ended, he had roles in the TV movie The Amazing Howard Hughes, The Waltons, and the movie Moonbeams. His announcing voice became part of many radio programs too. He was the announcer for Sears Radio Theater, and he also reminded listeners to request free religious literature at the conclusion of the World Tomorrow program on radio and television. He also recorded the narration for many children's books and was active in reading textbooks for the blind and dyslexic for many years. Gilmore died on September 25, 2010, of natural causes at the age of 98. Marco Lopez played Officer Sanchez, one of Wells's assigned partners. He also plays other recurring officers, mostly unnamed background characters. After the show ended, he had another major part on Emergency, where he played the role of firefighter Marco Lopez until 1979, when the show ended. After that, he guest starred on shows like MacGyver and Murder, She Wrote in the 1980s. During the early 2000s, he appeared briefly in the Julia Roberts movies America's Sweethearts and The Mexican, where his roles were uncredited. He spends most of his time these days teaching acting in Las Vegas, and he still occasionally appears in commercials, including ones for McDonald's in both Spanish and English. Finally, Jack Hogan played Sergeant Jerry Miller, a detective who handles investigations that Malloy and Reed are involved in, mainly in the earlier seasons. After ADAM-12 ended, he left Hollywood for Hawaii, where he built a construction business. During his 10-year stay on the island, he had a recurring role in Jake and the Fat Man, and also served as the casting director for Magnum P.I. Jack Hogan has twice been married and divorced, and is the father of 2. He recently returned to his hometown of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where he lives at the age of 93 and still enjoys hobbies like painting and fishing. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and maybe even consider supporting the channel over on Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, consider watching this playlist. While you're at it, hit subscribe and share Recollection Road Entertainment with someone you know. As always, thank you so much for watching.